Before Mickey Mouse, Walt Disney had a brutal business problem. He had lost the hit cartoon rabbit he created, and much of his animation team went with it. The character was called Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Audiences liked him. The films had real distribution. Disney finally seemed to have escaped the fragile little studios and unpaid bills of his early career. Then a contract meeting in New York exposed the catch. Disney lost the character, lost much of his animation staff, and returned to California without the deal he expected. The disaster is usually told as a neat origin story. Rabbit disappears, mouse appears, empire follows. But that version skips the useful part. Oswald did not merely teach Disney to make a better character. The rabbit taught him that creating something and controlling it are two different jobs. And in entertainment, the second job can decide who gets rich. In 1923, Walt Disney arrived in California after a failed animation business in Kansas City. He did not arrive as the head of a famous company. He arrived with a short film that mixed a live girl with a cartoon world and hoped somebody would distribute a series like it. Margaret Winkler agreed. The Alice comedies gave Walt and his brother Roy a working business. The brothers built a small studio, hired artists, and spent 4 years making the series. It was progress, but look at who held what. Disney made the films. A distributor connected them to theaters and supplied the deal that kept the studio alive. The creator needed the distributor more than the distributor needed this one tiny creator. That imbalance did not look fatal while checks arrived. By 1927, the studio was ready for a fully animated series. The new star would be a rabbit named Oswald. Charles Mintz, who had taken over Winkler's operation, made the arrangement with Universal. Universal had the theater network and the market power. Disney had the artists, the production headaches, and a character that had to succeed quickly. Oswald worked. Disney's team made 26 silent shorts between 1927 and 1928. The rabbit was energetic, mischievous, and flexible enough for the rubber-limbed comedy of the period. Universal's reach put the cartoons in bigger theaters than Disney could have reached alone. Oswald even became the first Disney character to appear on merchandise. On paper, this was the moment when the small studio should have gained leverage. Instead, success exposed who already had it. Production costs were rising, so Walt went to New York to negotiate the next run of cartoons. He expected to ask for more money. Mintz had a different proposal: accept less or lose the work. Mintz could make that threat because the contract did not give Disney ownership of Oswald. Universal controlled the character. Mintz had also arranged deals with many of Disney's artists, offering them work on Oswald cartoons without Walt. Picture the trap. The studio had created a popular character, trained a team to make his films, and spent a year improving the product. Yet the name on the door did not control the thing customers recognized. The distributor could keep the rabbit and replace the studio around him. Disney could accept worse terms and become a supplier beneath Mintz. Or he could walk away from the character his team had built. He walked. That choice sounds brave from a century away. In the room, it was frightening. Mickey was not waiting in a drawer. The company had bills, a reduced team, and no proven star it owned. The famous story says Walt began imagining a mouse on the train from New York back to California. That train ride has been polished by decades of retelling, so treat it as part history and part company legend. The solid part is what happened next. Walt and his chief animator, Iwerks, developed Mickey Mouse after the Oswald loss. Iwerks did the crucial design and animation work that turned the idea into a screen character. The first attempt did not instantly save them. Plain Crazy was produced first and shown to a test audience, but Disney could not secure a distributor for a silent Mickey series. A second silent cartoon, The Gallopin' Gaucho, did not solve the problem either. That removes the fairy dust. Losing Oswald did not magically produce a winner. Disney and Iwerks still needed a reason for theaters to care about an unknown mouse. Their opening came from sound. Movies were changing after the jazz singer demonstrated the excitement of synchronized dialogue and music. Disney gambled on making a third Mickey short with tightly synchronized sound. That film was Steamboat Willie. It opened at New York's Colony Theater on November 18, 1928. The sound was not a decoration placed over the cartoon. The whistles, squeaks, rhythm, and movement worked together. Audiences were watching a simple character, but the experience felt new. Mickey finally had distribution. This time, Disney also had ownership. That difference changed what one successful cartoon could become. A distributor might still be necessary to reach theaters, but the underlying character could continue across new contracts, new films, and new products. An early reported deal put Mickey on pencil tablets and paid Disney a licensing fee. Then came dolls, dishes, books, comic strips, watches, and other merchandise. That early pencil tablet deal was only $300. Small money, big mechanism. Think about what the studio had really gained. It was not just permission to print a mouse on more objects. It had gained the ability to coordinate many businesses around the same piece of recognition. A child who saw Mickey in a theater could meet him again in a comic strip. The comic made the toy more familiar. The toy kept the character alive between cartoons. Every partner still took a share, but no partner could casually remove the mouse from Disney and continue the whole system without the studio. This also changed the value of improvement. Under the Oswald arrangement, better animation made Universal's character stronger. Under the Mickey arrangement, better animation strengthened an asset Disney could carry into the next negotiation. The same hour of creative work had a different long-term owner. A film earns money while people buy tickets. A character you control can earn again when a manufacturer licenses it, when another story uses it, and when a new format arrives. Each appearance can make the next one more valuable. Oswald had shown Disney the downside of that compounding effect. He had built attention around an asset somebody else owned. Mickey showed the upside. You can stretch this into a perfect master plan for everything Disney later did, but the facts get messy fast. The company still depended on distributors, lenders, employees, theater owners, licensees, and plenty of risky negotiations. Walt also did not create Mickey alone. Iwerks' contribution was foundational, and the wider staff turned the character into a durable series. Ownership did not remove dependence. It changed the bargaining position inside those relationships. That distinction is easy to miss when people repeat the slogan, "Own everything." Disney did not own the cinemas showing Steamboat Willie. It did not manufacture every Mickey product. It did not personally perform every drawing, compose every note, or manage every local sale. Total control would have made growth slower, not faster. The durable advantage was narrower. Keep control of the identity audiences were coming back to, then make deals for the rest. That approach also created new risks. A company built around protected characters can become defensive, litigious, or too willing to repeat what already works. Ownership is a tool, not proof of creative virtue. The Oswald lesson explains leverage. It does not excuse every choice Disney later made with that leverage. The studio could take the same owned characters into color cartoons, feature films, television, merchandise, and eventually theme parks. Not every move worked. Disney repeatedly pushed the company close to its financial limits, but a growing library of controlled characters gave each new experiment something the Oswald deal had denied: a base of intellectual property that could travel with the company. The lesson also became part of Disney's culture. Official company histories describe the Oswald loss as the moment Walt resolved to own what he made. Memory tends to simplify, and no single contract explains an entire corporation. Still, the pattern is hard to miss. Disney's future was built around characters and stories that could be reused, extended, and protected. The strange final chapter arrived in 2006. After nearly 8 decades, the Walt Disney Company regained rights to Oswald from NBC Universal. The transaction was part of a broader agreement that allowed sportscaster Al Michaels to leave Disney-owned ESPN and join NBC. In other words, a cartoon rabbit was effectively involved in a trade for a famous sports broadcaster. It sounds like a joke written for the internet. It is also the perfect ending. Oswald still had negotiable value 78 years after Walt Disney lost him. The rabbit outlived the original contract, the silent film market, Charles Mintz, and Walt Disney himself. That is what ownership can preserve. Not certainty and not automatic success, but optionality over time. The useful question is not whether you should own every tool, platform, or distribution channel. That can be expensive and foolish. The question is which part of your work becomes more valuable as attention accumulates, and whether that part can leave without you. For Walt Disney in 1928, the answer had long ears and belonged to Universal. So he started again with a mouse. Which was the more important move, refusing Mintz's deal, creating Mickey, or gambling on synchronized sound? Pick one in the comments and explain why. The rabbit made the loss visible. The mouse made the lesson compound.